In today's episode, we dive into the importance of fitness for Muslim men, especially before marriage. Noman shares why last minute wedding day gym rushes don't work, how strength goes beyond just aesthetics, and why taking care of your health is actually an amana. We also unpack practical steps for from walking, nutrition, and lifestyle shifts to how Iman ties to building lasting health. If you've ever wondered why health matters before you even step into marriage, this one's for you. In today's episode, we're going to talk about fitness before marriage, and who better else than Noman here, aka Sunnah Strength, to answer some of these questions that you may have. I know that I have as well. So, straight off the bat, Noman, why do brothers only start fitness before wedding or before wedding
I
night?
think, well,
Or when
you
wedding's
kind of explained
approaching.
it. I think you kind of explained it right there. Wedding night. It's just that idea of being your best on your best day. It's supposed to be the most important day, especially for the woman. And for the guy, it's mostly looking attractive for his spouse and feeling his best, feeling his most masculine. When are you your most masculine than when like you're with your wife, when you want to be intimate, when you want to be close to someone? And this is your first time as a Muslim at least being with someone you love in halal means you want to look your best. The only thing is, I myself as a trainer don't like it when guys come to me last minute because it's such a drastic change and it's not healthy because what people really want is, hey bro, my wedding's in like 2 weeks. What can I do to get like as shredded as possible? I just have to take a sigh and be like, look, in 2 weeks' time, at the maximum, depending on how heavy you are, by the way, but let's say a healthy yet extreme weight loss somewhere around 1 kilo a week. It is possible. It'll just be very tough. But if you start taking care of your health in the last minute, what's going to happen is you're going to feel more drowsy, you're going to have less energy, and then you have to deal with all these wedding plans, especially when it comes to the bills and going to the venue, coming back from the venue, taking people all around, going to your in-laws, coming back. You're just going to be drained. And I'm going to go from your fitness coach to your therapist. That's what's gonna be happening. They're gonna be sitting there like, I can't do it, man. I don't want to have any more tuna. I don't want to have any more chicken. And that's the conversations we're gonna be having. But why? Simple as they want to look their best on that night. And as we talk more about it, we'll realize the biggest hardships that people go through preparing for their wedding, but also the huge mistakes they do. And I've already spoken about one, which is last minute preparation.
Yeah, I was recently at a wedding, and man, the groom was like drained. I was just talking to him afterwards. He's just like he had no energy left at all. Like it's such a long day. Yeah, having to basically do like a boxer MMA fighter type of cut, essentially almost, or getting to that
Oh,
level. On top of everything else, like yeah, that's yeah, I can imagine you'd be dealing with a lot of stressed out brothers before the big day. Now, why do you think or why do you think gym is more than or just being fit or looking good is more than just looks? Because I know some people just think like it's just aesthetics. Maybe they're like, yeah, look, it'd be nice to look great, but it's not really something I care about that much. Why do you think they might be kind of wrong or um, looking at it the wrong way if someone's thinking
I
like
think
this?
there's too many extremes, but the gym should be about functionality. And it's a funny thing because I have a video in the works about this. Working out is weird. Exercise is weird because it was only made revolutionary somewhere around the 1800s where there was a man, already forgot his name. He's the first bodybuilder essentially. And if you look at the Mr. Olympia statue,
Mhm.
the statue is of him,
Okay, so he's
of
a
this
real
guy.
dude. He's a real guy.
He's a real dude. Yeah,
Okay.
the statue. And he made aesthetics and building muscle for looks very popular. So we
Mm.
can call him the first natural, truly natural bodybuilder because steroids didn't exist at the time. So it's a very recent phenomenon. But why? Because as we went into the industrial revolution, as we went into more electronics and no longer working as farmers, or at least they were still farmers, but the majority of the world isn't. we're relying on other countries for import and export. We become lazy and we don't look as good. So what we do now is we go to the gym. But there's a what's his name? There's a extremely well-known doctor that I follow, and I can't believe I forgot his name already.
Yeah.
He went to a tribe in Africa, and he asked one of the guys, their fittest male, so what do you do for training? And the guy was like, what do you mean training? Like they don't have a word for training because they don't train. So even the translator couldn't explain it. They're like, okay, so when you run, how do you practice? The guy's like, why would I run if I didn't have to run? Because he doesn't know he runs because he has to hunt.
Mm,
There's that, but if he goes, if I had the choice not to run, I wouldn't run. But that's the thing. We now have the choice not to run, and we see the effects of it. How unhealthy we are. So now we have to exercise when it wasn't when normally it was a part of our life. So like when we say is aesthetics as important, I think what we're doing now is people are focusing too much on aesthetics and not functionality. You should go to the gym for the sake of being healthy. And if there's an exercise you enjoy, like you want to build your biceps curls, do them.
hmm
You want to build your tricep push downs, make sure you have an overhead extension exercise to build the long head of your tricep. And that's kind of it. More like the aesthetics is accessory,
mm,
accessories basically. Your main goal should be let's be as functional as we possibly can.
mm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, now the way life is kind of designed for us, at least in terms of the workplace, the having to exercise element, like you can be overweight and still earn a living and everything like that. Um, yeah, so definitely lifestyle or work has changed our lifestyle now, just the way things are set out. Now, having said that, what benefits can someone get who maybe isn't, being active at the moment, or they don't prioritize it, or maybe they don't value it? Because a lot of times people wait until some type of, medical issue comes about, and then that's the wake up call when they're just like post surgery, and the doctor saying like, "Hey, if you don't shape up, then you could be looking at these type of dire consequences," and that's usually the wake up call. So, why should they not let it get to that point before they start actively, taking care of their health? And what are some of the benefits they can get
Okay, no, that's a really good
by
question.
being active? Yeah.
Yeah. And before we get to that, the guy's name was Daniel Lieberman. I just remember now. I was going
Okay.
through my notes. His name is Dr. Daniel Lieberman, and everything we're going to talk about here, he covers so fantastically in his own newsletters and podcast interactions. And that point that you just mentioned now, how important it is, yeah, unfortunately, people only change when they get a health scare. Better a scare than death, because that's what we're trying to avoid. Obviously, qadar is down to Allah, but we are the ones who take care of our health first. So, because the body is a trust from Allah, and then it's upon us to make sure that we fill that trust that was given to us by taking care of it. Now, as we I'm sorry, what was the end of the question again?
Yeah. Um, so I believe my question was that, okay, what if, someone that doesn't value like looking after himself, being active, being, going to the gym, or having some type of cardiovascular, or maybe it's resistance training. Well, if they're not doing that at the moment, why should they start caring about that now, and not wait until there's a health scare? Or and what so maybe that's one question. Yeah, I probably gave you two questions. Yeah, maybe let me ask you that question, and then I can ask you a follow up on that.
Okay. I think you answered it in the question. The
Yeah,
health scare. You don't
yeah, I
want
know
it
I
to get
kind
to
of
the health
did.
scare. Yeah, but
Bit of a loaded
also,
question.
yeah, yeah, but it's a great question because why don't people do that then? The question is to ask them. Because unfortunately, as many mosque talks that I do, as many YouTube videos that I do, that's the purpose. How do I convince a person to change? Like that's what this video is for. But you
Mm,
can't really motivate an unmotivated person. It's a harsh reality I've been learning speaking to hundreds of people. I've spoken either in group gatherings or one to one. I've had a conversation when an uncle came to me asking about my coaching business, and he straight up told me, "What's the point? Because when you get old, you're gonna get ill anyway." Like that's really that was his reaction. I was so disappointed in him. Like, are
Mm.
you serious? Like you're like 20, more than 20 years older than me, and you're saying that the illness that you have is just from Allah. That's his. He literally said, "Qadar Allah." No, no, not my fault, not my problem. I'm like, not your problem. Forget about now. You have to repay back what's from Allah. It's your health. Aren't you scared of it? Aren't you scared of not being able to walk? Like your elderly father, before maybe he passed away, the not being able to go to the toilet. Do you not think about that? And he goes, "It's from Allah." And you know why he's saying that? Because he was currently a bit healthy and he did not care about it. Guess what happens a few months later? Nearly a year. He comes back to me saying, "I have an illness." And we've spoken about this before with you. I mentioned this story, and now he wants help.
Please tell that
So
story
yeah.
because I feel like a lot of people benefit from this story.
So at the beginning of my coaching business, a lot of people took inspiration from it, but unfortunately, there was a few, especially in the elder communities and within my culture as well. When you advise someone in the youth, you usually insult him at the same time. I don't know why. That's just my culture. Yeah,
Yeah.
and he told me that what I was doing was pointless to an extent because he said eventually you will all get sick. So what's the point of taking care of yourself now? Enjoy yourself. Just don't do anything haram. That was it. That was his life advice to me. Do whatever you want in life, just don't do anything haram. But I'm like, not taking care of your body. I won't say it's haram, but it's clearly an insult to the gift that Allah has given you, and you will get a sin no matter what. If the things you put in yourself is harming you intentionally and you don't care. And then he was like, yeah, 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 shush, shush, basically. And then he said, look, I believe that whatever I do, I'm going to get sick anyway and I'm going to die, so it doesn't matter. I just won't do haram in my business. And that's, oh, okay, fine, fine. He comes back to me a few months later asking me for help because he has now an illness, a very specific illness that can be treated with correct nutrition or medication. And I won't get into too much of it because obviously he's changed now and he's a very different uncle. So there's no point
Mhm.
mentioning it and people watching it and trying to figure out who he is. And yeah, and he
Yeah.
apologized. Didn't apologize straight away. He apologized after we got him in shape. And alhamdulillah, we reversed the illness and he is not on medication. He never needed it. And that is
Alhamdulillah.
fantastic. And I'm very happy. And
MashaAllah.
that same uncle now is my hype man. If anyone asks about Sunnah strength, he's like, yeah, 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 he's legit. Go to him. So alhamdulillah, it's a good thing. But it's unfortunate that that mindset is so prevalent of it doesn't matter, I don't care. But when I'm about to die, when the hardship comes, that's when I change. That mindset is directly against what it means to be a Muslim anyway. Because in everything we talk about moderation. Allah says it when it comes to food. And it's crazy. We're talking about health and diet. Allah mentions about food. Eat, but do not be excessive. For Allah does not like those who eat in excess.
Mm.
Very clearly there. When
Yep.
he talks about I'm controlling your desires and nafs, it's not just about, it's in everything. Controlling what you see, controlling what you touch, controlling your tongue. Everything's about self-control. But when it comes to how do I convince people,
Mm.
if me talking to you about cancer, me talking to you about death, you reading the Quran, which you should be doing a bit of every day, and learning all those verses about those who commit sin, and then when they do not commit, and the punishments that can come with it, and the rewards that will come from staying away from sin. If none of this convinces you, if your own parents in their old age and the pain that you see them go through because they neglected their health doesn't convince you, nothing can convince you. That's the hard reality. And I've learned it
Mm.
the hard way. You can't motivate an unmotivated person because
Mm.
motivation is temporary. You need to give them purpose. Currently, health is not their priority.
Yeah. And would you say like say someone that's like very obvious that like they're obese or they're in some type of pain, like when they walk they kind of grimace, or when they're in salah you can tell like you hear the groans a lot of time, like just from the physical ailments. So for that, so that's quite obvious for that person. But what about for the majority of people who, they look middle of the road, average. So they don't look, they're not obviously obese, but they're not like, very, very skinny that looks unhealthy. They're just middle of the road. So they'll never get the comments that's like, hey, you're out of shape or whatever, but they just kind of like just middle of the range. But would you, how would you kind of appeal to them? Because I feel like that would be the masses. But this person, they can't do a lot of the like they are unfit. They just don't look externally not in shape. Like so, how do you kind of appeal to this person? Do you think this person is more at risk because they're not because no one's ever gonna say like, "Hey, you need to do something," because they just blend in.
Mm. Most of those guys are usually the skinny fat guys where they don't look unhealthy, but they are because the body fat percentage is too high. So skinny fat is has now become a demographic on its own because they are, especially if it's a woman, more likely to develop type 2 diabetes. They're usually pre-diabetic without knowing it. Simply because now we know that body fat percentage and having a lot of visceral fat is indicative of diabetes. And if you lose that, you can almost reverse your type 2 diabetes. Especially if you're pre-diabetic, you're not going to be diabetic anymore, inshallah, if you get leaner and build muscle mass. It's really that simple because that will control your insulin as well. That will control your blood sugar intake because to be at that leanness and at that physique, you're going to be having healthy food anyway. So it does really change the whole problem if you just fix your
Mm,
physique because you'll have to fix your nutrition. And that guy usually, again, it's the health scare. The only way I can really convince him is by
mm,
showing him how amazing it feels to be strong. Like if I bring a guy to a football match, let's play football. He's already passed out and gassed out on the floor. To show him that look, we're all the same age, we're all young, but you are vomiting after like 5 minutes of running back and forth with the ball. And I've seen a guy do that because I was that guy that generally I played a 10-minute football match and I was so physically like I was muscular and I was like, whoa, my cardio is horrible. I've been there, man. I felt so
mm,
embarrassed, nearly puking on the floor. That's like I wanted to puke. And I'm
yeah,
sitting there like this, just doing that. And
yeah,
that changed everything for me. Now I'm a half marathon runner, and in October I'm doing my third half marathon. Every time beating my time, and just building your stamina and cardio, you feel like a different beast. You genuinely
yeah,
do. Like
yeah.
marathon runners are amazing, mashallah. Like the level of respect I have for them is insane.
Mm,
Mm.
right. And now like we've talking about the kind of medical scares. So some people they're motivated by kind of like fear, like what are the dire consequences? Because like we just said, you could be externally look fine, but internally, like when you're doing like medical assessments, you could actually have like diabetes. You're saying all these type of ailments, especially as you get older. You know, you can have these issues,
Mm.
but externally, no one would think that there's anything wrong with you. Now, with these, I don't know if you wanted to add to that or anything like that before we kind of move on.
Not really. It's just we'll talk a bit more about diet soon
Yeah.
and the
Okay.
biggest problems that mistakes people make.
All right. Cool. So yeah, we spoke about how medical scares are usually the turning point. But can you talk about what are the benefits of living an active lifestyle, having training or having some type of activity, physical activity in your life? Can you talk to like the benefits that people are, maybe they don't even know they're missing out on?
Not having a medical scare.
Yeah, so that's
But
a
besides
medical.
that,
All
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
paint them
Mm,
the nice picture they don't know about, right?
mm. Life is so much easier in three specific ways, but that doesn't change the struggle it takes to get there. So I will mention this. I know it is a struggle to get to a healthy place in your life, to feel better, start training. Don't need to go to the gym, but you have to increase exercise and your output. You're gonna have to change your diet. I understand that, but the reward on the other end is amazing because one, mental health improves so significantly. I can't even tell you this. There's a way of releasing stress and cortisol, which is one, therapy, speaking. Another, psychosomatic stress, which from actual, sorry, psychosomatic therapy, actually moving, we know releases cortisol.
Hmm.
Even a massage. Like massages on paper, we can't really tell what's happening, but we know you're having a feeling of comfort and it works. Whether you're in pain, whether you're stressed, whether you're tired, massages work. we know it literally like lets out cortisol.
Mm.
It so even if you're someone who doesn't want to get active, I would say start with the massage and then go.
Yeah.
Because it's a start, because it forces out cortisol so that stress will drop, so then you'll feel less stress to go work out.
Mm.
But as your mental health improvement is so amazing, especially for people who are addicts, and therapy has to happen. And you're a porn recovery coach, you know, like people need to tell you about the issue for you to help them, because just going and exercising isn't enough. But for someone who isn't exercising and is like the traditional, I'm in my bedroom like locked in watching all this stuff, go out and start moving and start working out with other people. The environment and the social aspect will change your life. I'm telling you. If you're already a guy who's stereotypically the shut-in nerd, geeky guy who's just watching stuff, dude, your life will change dramatically because your
Yeah.
mental health will improve so much, and the vitamin D you'll take in from walking out outside, and the social aspect of speaking to people will drop your desire to fulfill that addiction so significantly. And then you
Mm.
also need the therapy and the counseling. But adding that on
Mm.
will change everything. And second, physical health. We already know you're going to get healthier. But what that does for your everyday life, like even carrying shoppings into the house, it's like it's funny. I've seen posts like why I train, and then he shows a picture of a guy chasing a girl and a guy doing push-ups, and then he says no, why I train. A guy carrying his mom's shopping bags,
Yeah.
10 in each arm. But that is so true though. Like
Yeah.
I get called to anyone's house now just to move like a fridge, just to move a washing machine because no one can do it.
Mm.
And it's not like I'm super strong. It's just so many people are out of shape that a small 5'7" Bengali guy like me has to be called. And I'm not a world powerlifter, but the majority of people are so out of shape that the bar for success is so low that you just
Mm.
training 3 days a week consistently for a year, you could beat so many people. But
Mm.
consistency, obviously, and getting insufficient protein, you could outdo. You could get to what the top 1%, and it really is that easy
So,
because people aren't in shape.
so you've tied in a few positives. Like
Yeah,
with that, you tied it into like being helpful to your family by
yeah,
being able to help move difficult things. There's also like yeah, like having a sense of pride that will come with that, like social status that you're able to lift heavy things and contribute and being recognized for that. And look, as a man, like yes, like uh, uh women will look to you to do that, even within your own family. Like you're not gonna let
yeah,
your grandmother like lift some heavy thing or your mother or
yeah.
anything like that. Um, and it's
It,
just going back to you mentioned like the geeky person that that doesn't do any exercise activity anything like that. Um, so like I think for most people, I don't like once they realize maybe they're not going to go pro in whatever sport that they're passionate in. Like when you realize you're not going to get to the NBA, maybe you're not going to be a pro footballer, this type of thing, and then there's like this crossroad where you're like, am I going to go all in on my studies or am I going to go all in or on my athletic pursuit or sporting pursuit? And then once you kind of realize, okay, I got to prioritize my education, you just throw this kind of the physical out. Okay, I'm no longer gonna pursue this as seriously as I was before, and now it's just about the books. And do you feel sometimes this can be a trap where people like guys will fall into once they kind of honed in, and all their family members are saying like, "Hey, prioritize, university degree, that type of thing," and then the kind of
I
physical
think
training can fall to the wayside.
I think for that guy, for that specific guy, yes, because he's going from one extreme to another. Because his dreams were his athletic prowess. Like that was his everything. So from mentally just being like, you know what, I can't achieve the thing that I love most in this world. I'm gonna give it up. So that's a very different situation. But I think yeah, that's definitely true for that individual. And I've seen that. I've seen that with a young friend who what's it called wanted to become what was yeah he wanted to become a footballer, and obviously realistically it wasn't going to happen. Um, Also he wasn't going to trainings as much, so he was just like, if I can't make time for football, I'm just not going to play football anymore. Let me just focus on other things. And now the guy, he can't do a kick up properly. His stamina's dropped because his overall physical fitness is just gone. Because he just didn't want to continue playing the sport that he loved because he thought if I can't do it full time, I won't do it at all. But
Mm.
again, it's a very specific kind of person we're talking about.
Yeah.
If you mean like overall people who think that I need to work, so I'll prioritize my health second, man, that is more common than you think. And that is one of the reasons why overworking has caused so many people to end up in the hospital, so many people to end up at the GPs every single week because they have this problem in their blood. They have fat building up in the arteries. But why? It's just like I'm eating the most easiest things I can find, which is fast food, junk, high fat, and high sugar, just because it's convenient. Because I need to work, I need to earn money. I can't blame them because I don't know the situation. I can say work less. I can say live within your means. I
Mm.
It's good advice, but I don't know what you're really going through to just throw that at you. But you also need to prioritize that the life that you're living. The money doesn't matter if you're dead. To put it as simple as the money doesn't matter if you cannot physically use it because you're in so much pain. The family that you want to provide for and you're working so hard for, may Allah make it easy for you and bless you. But if you can't see them every single day, if you can't be with them to enjoy those moments, because once you're home from work, you are shattered and you are just lying on the bed because your physique is terrible, your energy is terrible. Your wife wants to spend some time with you, but you're just angry. You want to listen to her. You don't want to listen to her problems because you think your problems are so bad. And I'll be honest, mostly it's because you feel terrible that all your problems are amplified. And then you can't be intimate with her, and you're not also being intimate, so then you feel even worse. Kids are
Mm.
screaming, you're not even coming home anymore. And that's how
Right.
guys develop a lot of addictions. And with Muslims who didn't grow up around alcohol, they usually turn to cigarettes
Right.
because it's just an easier alternative. And it's not, it is, I'm on the opinion that it's haram because it's just poison in your body, same as alcohol. Even though it's not an intoxicant, it has no benefit, like no benefit. Because any benefit that you could get, like reducing stress, you can get from anything else. Exercise, anything else, even a
Mm.
massage. Even a hug is better to reduce stress than you would be than a guy saying like I need to have cigarettes. And that's what you'll
Mm.
turn to. And you'll just get worse. And it's a horrible downward
Mm.
spiral.
So I'm gonna be that guy now. Like, come on, I got I got this this job, this managerial position, I got direct reports, I have these employees I have to manage, I got a married wife and kids, working 60-hour weeks. And then you want me to go to the gym and work out so I get more tired. And how am I gonna be able to manage everything? And then you want like that energy that I had, now I don't have it anymore because I've just
Mm.
tied myself in the gym. Like, why would I sign up for this?
I don't want you to go to the gym. I didn't mention gym. You mentioned gym. I
Oh,
want you to get
okay.
physically active.
All right.
I just want you to get active. Yeah. So let's do this. You saying you work 60 hours a week. Yeah? So you're probably working some overtime. You're working really hard, man. I get that. I understand that. So
Hmm.
let's do this. Do you do you travel to work by train, by car, or walk it? And how long is your commute?
All right. This is a hypothetical guy. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. About
Yeah, just
an
bring
hour
in
20, maybe hour 20, door to door. So both ways. So to and from work. Yeah, maybe takes me a
mm,
couple about 2 hours and a half in commute. Yeah.
yeah. One, let's say hypothetically this guy needs to work. He has to work. I can't convince him to drop his timing. I can't convince him to change his
Yeah.
job, which not my business anyway, but let's just say I can't convince him to change his job.
Gotta
I
put
can't
food on the
convince him to drop his
table.
hours. He's got my
You
food on the
know.
table, man. You're stressed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Come home and after you have your half an hour or an hour to just calm yourself down, I want you to work out with your kids. And this is a change of mentality that a lot of people don't realize. No one said you need to go to the gym. No one said you need to buy a dip station pull up bar in your garden.
Okay.
I want you to play with the children, and that is your exercise. And that is a surprise that a lot of people find. because they think that you need to train like Arnold Schwarzenegger in order to be healthy. One, the guy was on steroids and drugs, okay? So you're not even going to match his recovery. But the
Yeah.
remember when we said the mindset and releasing stress,
Yeah.
flip it. You can your mind is so powerful. If we change that moment where you come home and you're like, oh, you love your kids. I know you do. That's why you're working for them. You love your wife, but you need a
Mm,
chance to chill. And then you think your health is bad. Change it. The
mm.
commute back is change it to a moment of meditation. I'm telling you, it's a life changer. It changed everything for me as well. When I used to be a delivery driver, driving vans everywhere and back, I changed that to a moment where I used to sit down and have a conversation with Allah. Like we used to talk, like tears used to come out of my eye because I was
Mm.
genuinely like contemplating my life, and it became a moment of meditation. Because the drive, especially drive back on the motorway, 1 hour, if I was depending on what town I was in, because I would deliver everywhere. St. Albans, Watford, um, Cambridge, all around London. But the commute back was the same because you have to come back to the same town. So I would go on autopilot back and I would just think to Allah and I would cry and I would plan out my day. And that moment of reflection allowed me to come home, even if I was tired, more relaxed.
Okay.
You're stressed and you're being more stressed in that moment. Why? Because you think of all the problems. No. You have an hour, reflect back to Allah. If you're on a train, read Quran. I am telling you, make that time the
So
time
how
for
does this help my
reflection.
physical?
Yeah.
How
Because it
does?
starts in your brain.
Mm,
Because you don't want to work out.
yeah.
So me telling you you've got to do this plan and that
Mm,
plan, it's not going to work out. This is why I do a 2 week free bonus with all my clients. I've mentioned it here. I don't really mention that. I mentioned that when we do the call, but basically this is how it works. Your life is going to change so drastically, but I don't want you to be afraid of that. We ease you in for 2 weeks. So after two
mm,
weeks, you're set. You're already counting calories, even if you've never done it before in your life. We do it step by step. All I
mm.
need you to do is the part that should be a good thing, which is your children and your wife, because they deserve it more
Are
than
you
anything.
saying
Yeah,
me? I'm already,
yeah,
I don't have so much energy because I just told
yeah,
you my workload is very, very high. Are you saying me
yeah,
expending energy on top of that is
yeah.
actually going to give me more energy, or am I going to be drained of energy? I need you to know that because
Yes,
that's so important.
this is really important because people say when you go to the gym, now I'm gonna be even more tired. I don't have time. Trust me, ask any guy who's a doctor, full-time worker, active guy who has works even more hours than you. They work out early in the morning and they still get to work and they still come home to the kids because working out increases blood flow and the change in nutrition will will reduce your blood sugar levels, will not give you random spikes and crashes throughout the day. And then on top of that, you'll have more energy. Is completely opposite. You
Yeah.
working out gives you more energy in all aspects. I've never been a person. I had a client who's 134 kg. All I did with him is I want you to consistently find a time where you're going to go work out. I prefer in the morning because our body's cortisol levels and testosterone changes, especially as a man. You start off with more energy in the day and it goes down later in the day. Yeah, because our testosterone peaks in the morning. But either way, he wanted to work out in the evening, totally fine. I said, I just need you to get in there. He's single guy, but I need you to just get in there and walk. And then on top of that, do strength train from the plan that I made for you and spend it an hour, cut all the sets. You don't need to do 3 sets. You don't need to do 4 sets. One. Just do it. And what's an amazing thing is once you have your mind to clear and you come home, you've eaten, your workout happens with your kids. Trust me, the connection you'll build when you're doing push-ups with your kid on your back is a completely different thing. You'll start enjoying it and you'll build that connection that you've lost with them because you're stressed out because you're worried about them. I understand. You're stressed out because you also can't work out. And you're stressed out because you can't eat clean. So at least combine two of them and start moving and start working out with your kids. That is something that people get really confused when I say it, but working out with children is the thing that will save your children from growing up being addicted to social media and their phone being their dad or their mom. And it
Mm,
will save you from now thinking, I need to go to the gym. Nope, you've combined that time at home.
mm.
Just work out.
Well, that's really cool. Like, I don't think I've heard that. Working out with your children, and yeah, and it
Yeah,
does provide a good example as well for them because they absorb everything. So,
yeah,
mashallah. And yeah, and yeah, I kind of knew what the answer was, but yeah,
yeah,
logically, someone that doesn't train, if they think like, man, you want me to expend so much energy? Like they think they're going to be on a net deficit, but you actually are in a net surplus. But even though it kind of logically, well, it perceived looks like
Yeah.
you're not making a good trade-off, but it is. Um, now now what's one habit that is actually gonna help someone to stick with something sustainable? I know we've talked about, brothers generally coming to you before their nikah and generally they want a quick transformation and maybe they're gonna be doing things that maybe not gonna be sustainable over a longer period of time. But what about someone that what's one habit that you would actually recommend that will help someone stick with some type of um, exercise long term and not just quick shredding only.
Walking. Walking is a game changer because people don't do it anymore. It's so strange to say that. Walking is a game
Mm,
changer. Bro, everyone walks. I just walked from here to my living room, had a coffee and walked back. But people do not walk as much and they don't walk in the sun.
yeah.
Get out of your house, get a bit with nature, allow vitamin D to come in, cleaner air. Well, hopefully clean air. Don't know where you live. It might be worse outside. But yeah, yeah. And start taking in steps because your NEAT, non-energy activity thermogenesis, this is the calories you burn while basically fidgeting, moving around, all this stuff. As you're moving around increases and your steps increase in your daily just schedule, your calories will burn more. Your calorie burn will increase. So you'll burn more fat overall. It's really that simple.
Mhm.
And that doesn't mean reducing other activities. Keep everything else the same. Your steps increase in addition to your everyday life. That's all. And in that moment, multitask. And I've done that a lot. I would plan my day during the walk. I would have phone calls with clients during the walk or text them. If you have a job that requires you to speak and make a lot of phone calls, that's the perfect time to do it. Obviously, be safe when you're crossing the road and everything,
Yeah.
but steps is so
Mm,
simple and so many people don't do it, man. Like, if I
yeah.
was to sit down and talk to you, like, how much I walked this week, because I've been on the laptop for this entire week just working, bro,
Mm.
it's like I probably could have burned an extra with how much I walk, 1,500 calories in the whole week. And
Wow,
there's
that's
about
huge.
half, yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So you saying walking, I was already thinking about when my surgeon was saying like, yeah, sorry, dude, like your basketball kind of days are over. And I remember him, and I'm like, so what can I do instead? And he said walking. And my reaction was like, what walking? I was like, because
Yeah.
walking ain't cool, right? Because people would just assume walking is just like, I don't know, something that elderly people do to keep active and everything like that. So it doesn't get the appreciation of the immense health benefits that it does. I know it does. Um, but yeah, so maybe people are also thinking like how I was. I'm like, yeah, doc, you got to give me something more than walking. But yes, walking is legit a really good thing. You've heard no man say it, like, so you know it's legit. But yeah, so because people think
It's
like,
becoming cool again.
yeah,
It's
because
all
it
over.
doesn't look as
Everyone's making
cool.
TikToks about it, man.
Like the
Yeah.
guy and he's like, you know, in his marathon running shoes or whatever, he's like a real runner. Like they think like this guy's legit because that's like an Olympic sport, even though walking is a one too. But you know, but yeah, don't sleep on walking. Um, yeah, right, cool, man.
Yeah. It's
And
getting cool again though. I
is
mean,
it
all these influencers are making videos everywhere. Instagram, TikTok, you can
walking's
find.
cool now? All right, maybe
Bro,
you need to.
walking's cool, bro.
All right, you need to sell
People
me
walk in their
too.
gym shorts.
Sell me walking, bro.
Yeah. Walking. Easy. Do it anywhere.
Yeah,
Doesn't need to be in your house, outside your house. Do it with a person that you like. Go on a date, on a walk. You can also, on top of that, get sunlight, get more vitamin D,
yeah,
a chance for reflection, and walking is something that allows you to access your fat stores more. So you will be burning more of your fat during a walk than you would from an intense activity. Now, obviously, calories in, calories out matters more. So if you're still overeating and you're walking and you're like, but walking will burn my fat stores, bro, you still have to eat less. You still have to eat less. So remember
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we're almost out of winter here in Australia, so yeah, okay, I'm gonna add walking to on the agenda once again. Now that we can,
You're out of winter. We're entering winter.
yeah, dude, we're in this. I'm in the southern hemisphere, bro. You're in the north. Right. Okay. I think you've already mentioned this. So, but maybe we need to touch upon this again because people fall into all or nothing thinking, right? So if they're not doing, they're not in the gym 3 times a week, they're not like in that mode, then they just stop it completely. But how do you avoid this kind of all or nothing thinking or avoid burnout so they can just they haven't touched maybe a dumbbell in months or years. How uh, how would you kind of get them to ease in and just kind of get because we know like once you get going, then you're gonna build. But I know the hardest thing is starting. So how do you kind of help them bridge that?
In the end, they have to come to me. I can't come to them. The moment they're ready, they will be ready to make that change. But if they come to me saying like, I want to start, but I'm scared, I don't know how, it's a very big change. But they
Mm,
understand. They understand how problematic their current lifestyle is. It's simple steps. If you're not walking as much, we're going to start walking. We're going to reduce the easiest things. I don't even tell people to count calories. That brother who was 134 kg, we lost 2.5 kilos in the first week, which is not realistic. I have to say, it's not going to happen for everyone. It didn't happen for him. After 2.5 in the first week, he lost 1 kilo consistently there on out. Why he lost so much in the first week? His diet changed so drastically in the first week, and it was just sugar. And we reduced his carbohydrate intake. He was still eating carbs. I didn't make him drop it. It
mm,
would be too drastic to put him on keto. He would just spiral out of control.
yeah.
But a carb holds approximately 1 gram of carbohydrates holds around 300 grams around there of water. So what happens when you drop 100 grams of carbohydrates a day, 300 grams of carbs? That 3 times 7, 2.1, sorry, 1 gram of carbs, 3 grams of water. So 100 grams of carbs, 300 grams of water you drop in a day. That in a week, 3 times 7, 2.1, 21, right? So 2.1 kilos of water gone in a week just by you reducing carbohydrate intake slightly. So that's a lot of water. So you'll suddenly drop so much weight. You're gonna be like, what just happened? But that's water weight. There's a really cool video online of a guy called Will Tennyson who recently just did that. He said, "Can I put on 10 pounds in a day?" He did. That's
10
like,
pounds in a
yeah,
day.
yeah. And then he dropped 10 pounds. He dropped just over 10 pounds the following day.
That's
But what did
crazy.
he do? It's not fat. You are not going to get 10 pounds
Mm,
fat in a day. That's what people
yeah.
need to not stress about when you go out and have that cheat meal. It's water weight and it's
Mm,
sodium, especially if your cheat meal was burgers and chips and all that. It's a lot of sodium and salt holds onto water as
mm,
well. And it makes you want to drink more water because it retains water. So you drink even more. So he actually did put on 10 pounds and he lost a bit more than 10 pounds. It's a 2-day experiment. And it was really fun to watch. And that's what he was doing. So when that client's diet changed so drastically in the first week, he lost 2.5 kilos. Even he was like, wow, this is sick. But I had to calm him down because he's thanking me. But I'm like, I didn't actually do much. Because next week it's gonna get slow.
yeah.
Maybe for the next week it might be a bit faster, but eventually it'll be 1 kilo, and then it'll be like half a kilo. Because I'm not gonna have you be that aggressive on a diet because I've known your habits after seeing how you eat. That's why this first week was so drastic, and I don't want to make it any harder for you. So for that guy who basically is struggling, the basic things are start walking more, 10,000 steps a day. If you don't do it, or add 10,000 steps in addition to what you're already doing, if you can. 8,000 okay, but 10,000 would be great. And reduce your added sugar intake. So not fruits. People think I need to stop eating fruit because there's sugar in it, bro. Like, and this is the crazy mindset. The people telling me that they won't eat fruits because of sugar in it are still having every other kind of sugar from cakes and chocolates and sweets. Always. It's so crazy to me. Like, I'm so afraid of
No, no.
canned fizzy drinks because there's all this stuff inside. Like the sugar-free ones they're saying. I'm afraid because I watched the video on
Yeah.
aspartame. I get it. But you're having regular soda. What? Which one do you think is really better for you? The one with like 5 to 6 grams of like teaspoons of sugar in a can,
Mm,
or it's actually more than that. I think it's close to 20, or nothing. No sugar, almost 0 calories. So you can't even gain weight from having this. Like, sorry, you'll gain weight because it's something going into you, but you'll come out. You won't gain fat. It's impossible from a sugar-free drink. But they won't have that.
There's so many
So
good
it's
alternatives
crazy. Yeah.
now. Like
Yeah.
I love my sparkling water. You know, once you get into it, you know, you can get a CO2 tank and
Yeah.
man, it's very cheap, very economical. And yeah, man, you used to get that fuzzy
Yeah.
sensation, that fizzy sensation, because we've all been kind of programmed to love that fizziness just from, you know, in
Mhm.
your youth, you're drinking all of these soft drinks and things like that. But so many healthy alternatives now, you know, we're living
And
in
you,
a
you don't need to
good
give it
age.
up because what I'm saying is drop,
Mm,
switch to an alternative that still gives
yeah.
you the same taste. So if you have cola and then you have a sugar-free one, forget the idea of it won't really taste the same, bro. Like, get your priorities straight first. It will taste the same. If you need to psychologically like change yourself,
Yeah,
then get it home and pour it into like some other kind of a jug so you can take it from that jug. But
yeah.
make those switches first, so at least you're still getting the taste. And then when you see yourself drastically change slightly, a bit more each day,
Mhm.
then you can start being like, okay, maybe I can just stop having fizzy drinks completely because the acidity is bad for my teeth. And also, I want to start drinking more water. Great. Don't need to do that immediately. You're having sugar free drinks now, half the amount of drinks you usually have, and the other half replace it with regular water. Great. Now, protein intake is so important because as protein intake goes up, one, you will retain muscle better, you will build muscle better, but also it's so satiating that you will have to have less of everything else. You will have to reduce your fats and carbohydrates because you've increased the protein intake anyway. And the majority of people, it's not a majority, 100% of people who have come to me in the last 6 years, either as a full time client or as a consultation, has always under eaten protein every time. It's just, I think any trainer in the world will say that. I'm just telling you, it's been 100% for me so far, but majority will say almost all of them under eat protein. The
Mm,
moment you start eating the correct amount of protein, which doesn't 1 gram per pound of body weight, which is 2.2 grams per kilo of body weight, is a good goal. But you can have less than that. You can even have 1.2, especially for someone who's starting off and never trained in their life.
mm.
A 1.2 grams per kilo of body weight, that is, or 0.7 grams per pound of body weight. You can even start from there. No issue, man. That's okay.
Now
But
for
people, yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
no, but people are afraid
Yeah.
because they think that either it's going to cause them other health issues like kidney problems, which I understand if you already have kidney issues. The
Oh,
thing is,
okay.
yeah, but it's so minor. The risk almost non-existent because you increasing that, you will also change all your other bad habits.
Mm,
So it's almost like a huge net positive because let's say the potential of you getting any other illness goes up because you increase protein. Almost not likely, but let's say it does. But because your food quality has changed so drastically and your exercise has increased, it's almost like it balances out. It's almost non-existent. The idea that you're going to get sick from having too much protein
mm.
because all the other problems that you caused have disappeared.
What do you find is like the kind of biggest challenge you face when you're kind of giving this information or you're setting this person on on this journey? What's kind of typically the kind of biggest challenge or challenges you face?
The lack of faith in themselves, not me. They've come to me, so they believe in me. It's a lack of faith in themselves.
Mm,
They just think they can't do it. They just think it's impossible. That's why what we just spoke about was very important. Steps. I have to make sure I have to guide them in almost like they're a child,
mm.
but while also reminding them they're a grown adult. Because if I keep babying them, once they
Yeah.
leave me, they're gonna fall off track.
So they don't believe
So
that they can
mm,
change. And what do you
they
reckon
do not
that
believe they
stems
can change.
from?
Stems from continuous bad habits because clearly they've proven to themselves that they are this version of themselves right now. And remember, anyone watching this, current version of you.
Mm,
This is not who you are, and your weight currently doesn't define you. You can always change. But because they're so used to this big, fat, unhealthy person,
yeah.
that's all they know. And it's been so long that they've been in this place, they think it can never change. It can always change. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And if someone wants to kind of reach out and and get some help and seek your services, how can they do that?
Well, for me, it's just Sunnah Sunnah is Strength on my YouTube channel. There's a link to my Calendly call. If you can't find a link, I'm probably booked up for that month, so that's why. But you can always DM me on Instagram with the exact same handle, Sunnah dot is dot strength. You can always DM me. Inshallah, I'll get back to you. But if you want to message me, just let me know. Not just Assalamu alaikum. I get a lot of Assalamu alaikum, so I have to try, and it takes a while to message back to everyone.
Yeah.
Just say Assalamu alaikum. I have da 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 issue. Can you
Yeah.
give me some advice? Then I'll be like, okay, I know what to say to this guy.
All right. All right. So okay, you've given the listeners a lot of benefit, but can you just sum up like kind of what you think are the main points that they can take away? I know we went into maybe people will kind of overawed about protein and calories, all these numbers. Like if they don't remember anything from this podcast, what would you leave them with that would be of tangible benefit that you want them to walk away with?
You're going to die regardless of what you do and what we say today. But you will be resurrected on the day of judgment from Allah. And when He asks you about what you did with the body that He gave you, you won't be able to respond. Your limbs will speak on behalf of you. Your tongue will speak without your control. What answer do you think your body's going to give about the way you treated it? Your body is the first amana from Allah given to you because it's the first thing that was entrusted directly to you. No one is going to be accountable for your deeds and what you do with it other than yourself. So when you go back to Allah, let's have one thing that we can say, I took care of it. Allah, you gave me my body and I did everything I could to make sure I kept it good. I only touched what was halal. I only looked at what was halal, and I only said and did what was halal. And I did my best to keep it healthy and clean.
Mic drop, mashallah. Man, that's amazing. That's so powerful. That was really, really powerful. Yeah, the inclination, I don't know, like the inclination, just brothers or sisters, whatever that they've been when they think of physical transformation, like being active, gym, whatever, dumbbells, all that type of thing, they just think dunya. But the fact that you're tying it into the hereafter, because I don't know how often that's done. Like I don't know, I've never really come across someone that, especially in fitness, that tied it in to the hereafter, like resurrection, like that. If that doesn't get someone motivated and juiced up as a Muslim, then man, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Like might be a little bit dead inside. But Jazakallah khair
Yeah.
for coming on and spitting some fitness game on us here.
Nah,
And if anyone wants to follow him again, Sunnah Strength, we'll have the link in the description. I think that's it's an amazing place to leave it here for episode 4. And inshallah, there will be more. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
inshallah. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.